when we saw that, we recognized that, we would need to probably transfer back to GM before then. Uh, but what happened with that at the same time in that agreement, in that contract, international reps that came out of Delphi were their pension credits stayed with General Motors, so they were protected from any bankruptcy that might occur. But we were given a time limit. I believe the original plan was that after that benefit guarantee expired in 2007, they could bankrupt the company. General Motors would be off the hook for the pension and the health care and the life insurance. They would have had no responsibility whatsoever. But it blew up in their face because Battenberg got caught, the CEO at Delphi and other board members got caught cooking the books. They had inflated profits. They had claimed that they had made money that they had not actually made. They would sell scrap and call it a profit, buy it back and call it an asset. And when that got caught, that blew up in their face. Now that was January 2005 that this came out, that they were under investigation by the FBI and the SEC. And a number of those board members, including Battenberg, retired, and they were replaced by Steve Miller, who had a long history of organizing bankruptcies. We knew that that's what he came in to do, although he denied it initially. That's where he was headed. And so what we found, though, was that, see, initially when we voted on the contract in 1999, we didn't know that all of our pension credits had been dumped into Delphi. So we were in a position where if they bankrupt this company, we would lose everything. And that's where, we became really alarmed. So many people at that time had 20 and 25 years at Delphi. And so our biggest investment in life was our work. And we were about to lose everything. As it turned out, and I believe that Soldiers of Solidarity contributed to that because we made a lot of noise. And we made it difficult for Steve Miller and for management. I remember saying in one of my ammos that management likes to throw money at problems. Let's give them a big problem to throw money at. This is what they did eventually. They agreed to buy out workers, to pay them their pensions and benefits if they had 26, 27 years with Delphi. And that really tamped down the resistance. It satisfied the basic needs of people. Once workers had those basic needs satisfied, they were not willing to take the risk of any further resistance. They also opened up the possibility for people to transfer. So a lot of people either retired or transferred at that point. And as we predicted, the dominoes kept falling. It wasn't just that they were satisfied to do this at Delphi. Delphi was able to lower wages for new hires, and permanently the wages for everyone. There was a buy down where the seniority workers would get a supplemental pay for like the next 3 years, and then eventually would go down to the lower rate of pay, about half of what they'd been making previously. In 2007, that virtually the same contract came to GM, Ford, and Chrysler. And that was the two-tier arrangement, where anyone, every new hire would come in making about half the wages and not have any pension or health care in their retirement. And then along with this, in 2005, the UAW introduced the VIBA at General Motors.
Explain FIBA.
And in 2005, it was interesting. General Motors was trying to prop up its stock and say, look, we're a healthy company. Yes, we've been losing a lot of money, but we have $20 billion in cash, $20 billion in assets, and $20 billion in a VIBA. I don't know what happened to all that money, but it's all gone, according to them. And in 2005, the UAW entered into negotiations with General Motors and Ford to open up a VIBA for retiree health care. Now, at the time, they said this would protect retirees in the event of bankruptcy. It cost the active workers about $1 an hour initially, but it also cost them in regard to their future COLA diversions. Cost of living adjustments that they would receive quarterly would be diverted to help offset the cost of health care. So there was an initial sacrifice that active workers made to support the VIBA. And also the retirees would have to begin paying higher copays and premiums. Now, they had been promised when they retired that they would get full benefits. This is something, interestingly enough, that had been supported in federal courts for years. The accrued vested benefits of retirees could not be violated even through bankruptcy, because that was a contract. The company could not come back later and say we can't afford it. That was recognized in federal courts. So General Motors could not unilaterally say, we need to renegotiate this, we can't afford to pay it. They could do that and did do that with their salaried employees, because salaried employees did not have a contract. With union employees, they couldn't do that. Only the UAW could do that for them. But in fact, not even the UAW had that authority. Retirees don't pay union dues. Retirees don't vote on contracts. Retirees don't work. So the UAW had no legal right to represent retirees in this negotiation. But they entered into this negotiation with General Motors and Ford, and got the active workers to ratify it. And the way they got the active workers, actually the only way that they could become involved in this negotiation and vote on it, was because they took something from them. They had to give up a wage increase and some cost of living diversions, which amounted to about $1 an hour at that time. They passed it at Ford and General Motors. They didn't pass it at Chrysler.